Unit 3. Diversity and Equality of the Uniformed Public Services. How do the public services maintain a diverse workforce? First of all, the public services, or Uniformed Public Services, UPS, have policies and procedures to work from and work with. The Uniformed Public Services have looked at various methods of creating a more diverse workforce, and there are 6 key points, particularly with the civilian public services, that come up, but across the board with the armed forces as well. First of all, an increased recruitment for minority groups and positive response to all applicants, whether they be male Sikh potential police officers, or white male army officers, or a Buddhist ambulance person, or a black Welsh potential firefighter. But to do that, you obviously need the people to do it, so you need to get in touch with the communities of these minority and ethnic groups, and make sure that you get across your message that you need to recruit from their communities, so you can effectively police, protect, help, heal, etc. their communities. So secondly, and that leads on from, you need up-to-date training on diversity issues for current and new staff. So, well, basically what this is, training them on what diversity is, what equality is, why we do it, what the current issues are, etc. You need to share good practice. If a police service, such as, I don't know, Gloucestershire Constabulary, has a really good method, then they should work well with perhaps the local TA regiment, or go to the Army HQ and they can work down, and work with the local fire service ambulance brigade. Because if one person's got a good idea and it works well, why not spread it around, particularly with the UPS? Thirdly, understanding the needs of the current workforce. If your workforce does not need lots of Polish speaking policemen in one area, because that area, that beat that they're patrolling is mostly people who mostly do not speak English as a first language, but instead of speaking Polish they speak, I don't know, Pashto or something, then perhaps putting 10 Polish policemen in that area is not a good use of resources. Although it may look good in PR, we have 10 new policemen who are not British, but are very good policemen nonetheless. It's not actually very effective to put them in a place that's not actually going to utilise that asset very well. So you need to understand the needs of your workforce and needs of the community. Next, you also need to view and update the recruitment and selection process constantly. Society changes, and UPS mirror that society. So just like 10-15 years ago they allowed homosexual and bisexual and transgender to serve openly in the armed forces and the police. Before that, they allowed women to do full-time roles. Now they're talking about women in forces being able to do combat roles. It's no good living 20 years in the past, which can be a bad and a good habit for the armed forces in particular. You need to make sure that your recruiting and selection process is up to date and fits well with the current society. You also need to improve your facilities, a bit more of physical stuff. It's no good having, brilliant, you've got 12 Muslim officers, for instance, who also speak a foreign language and they're in high demand, but they can't pray in the police station because there's no space. You're going to need a faith room, but it's no good just having no good just having a chapel, because they may not feel comfortable with that. And it's no good just having a mini mosque or anything like that. You need to have perhaps maybe a more multi-faith room, or several rooms that different religious people and people who aren't religious in this day and age can practice their faith, because whatever religion or culture you come from, it's very important. So you've got to make sure you have the facilities to facilitate your workforce. Otherwise, they're not going to want to work for you if they can work for someone else who equally enjoyable job, pays them well, and will give them places to to pray and to eat their own meat and whatever it is. These days, the methods chosen by the public services to recruit a diverse workforce are generally very good. However, there have been some bad occasions, such as early in 2006, the Avon of Somerset Constabulary, under admittedly pressure from Her Majesty's government to meet targets to recruit women and people from ethnic groups, minority ethnic groups, they illegally, as in against what's now the Equality Act 2010, I imagine, reject 200 applications from white males, who probably are the most common people to want to join the police. Not because white men want to be rule of the earth or anything, but because in the southwest there are more men, perhaps, there are more white men, perhaps, who want to join the police force than there are Polish women or Pakistani women, just because of the role that the police want for them. So it's nothing negative, but what is negative is the police, the Avon of Somerset Constabulary, rejecting those applications because they felt by accepting white men they would not be able to meet the targets put by the government. It's no good having a force full of hundreds of Muslim women if half of them are rubbish police officers. Much better have a balance of people who A, are going to be good police officers, who B, come from all broad society, whatever the colour of their skin, whatever they believe in, where they're from, whatever language they speak. And there is a need to have a diverse workforce, but to try and make targets up just so you can say to the world, the country, oh look what we have here. You have a brilliant multicultural police force. Well, you don't. What you have is a police force rejecting applicants from people who would be good police officers just so you can look good on the fancy PR page. Methods such as PR, public interaction. So recently the British Army was invited into a mosque and managed to have group chats with local Islamic leaders, so they could really get across that the British Army protects all British people and the Commonwealth and British overseas territories, regardless of anything, gender, race, any of that. And if you're British and eligible and you're Muslim and you want to join the army, you can, and they're going to be very accepting of that. But that's quite hard to get across the message if you aren't communicating. So communication with the public and with your potential recruits and communities is key. So going out and talking to an area which is very multicultural or is a very diverse area is going to get you good results. That's not to say you should ignore anyone who is a white man, for instance, or a white female, or has a certain income, because they can be just as good. What the idea is to create a diverse. Diverse does not mean they have to be of originally a foreign country, a different country. Diverse means you have a wide range. White, black, Asian, Muslim, Catholic, any other Christians, Buddhists, Hindus, Sikhs, whatever. Disadvantages: it can kind of come across as patronising. It can come across, just like we saw the Avon Somerset Constabulary mishap, it can come across as, just wrong, because you're actually trying to recruit people who, you're not recruiting the people who could be just as good just because they are white male, and that actually in itself is discrimination, which the whole point of having a diverse workforce is to stop that discrimination. Because if you discriminate against someone, that is A, wrong, but B, it doesn't matter what they are and who's doing it to them, it can still be discriminatory. that's obviously disadvantages. You get situations like that. The advantages, of course, you can have lots of wonderful people, all sorts of backgrounds, all sorts of languages, all sorts of cultures, working in your police force, working in your local fire brigade district, working in Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, working in 39 Signal Regiment. Recommendations for change. I would suggest that targets by Her Majesty's Government, whichever, it's probably the Home Office for Police and Ministry of Defence for the Forces, are relaxed and, well, probably just disbanded actually. But that's not to say this should not be promoting a diverse workforce, but you cannot put a figure or skin colour or a culture on what's going to be a good soldier, police officer, firefighter, medic, coast guard, etc. The uniformed public services need to be diverse to work well, and the main way to do that is increase recruitment and communication with all cultures, all faiths, all communities, sharing a good practice, up-to-date training, and coming down hard on anyone that is discriminatory, whether that's rejecting white male applicants, whether that's being derogatory to female officers, whether that is not recruiting in a multicultural area of town because because you feel afraid or whatever. So key messages: develop workforce, but don't do it by discrimination.